Hi, welcome to another one of our outdoor yoga practices. Tonight we're going to be sharing a mat yoga class that is meant to address those lower back areas that may be giving you concern on any given day. We're going to access those areas in a natural way. Try to stretch those muscles out, try to get a little natural relief, again, if you've got some lower back concerns. So what we're going to do first is plant both feet flat on the ground, and let's start to roll the shoulders back and down. Starting to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. And if those passageways are not clear tonight, let's just breathe as comfortably as we can. Remember, if this is your first time ever doing a yoga practice, don't worry, nothing is required. The only thing that I ask is that we breathe as deeply as is comfortable, and that we always listen to the body at all times and ease up when we need to, or give ourselves more of a challenge when we want to. And as we breathe in through the nose and we breathe out through the nose, we can hear the sound of that healthy breath, and we find our focus there, allowing all other thoughts to fade away, bringing ourselves to this present moment, right here, right now. And when we're ready, let's roll those shoulders all the way back and down, standing tall, 2 feet flat on the ground, connecting ourselves to the humming of energy just below the earth's surface. And we reach each fingertip out as far as it can reach, like starfish hands. Pulling in the abdominals, lifting up to our own tallest height, and breathing, enjoying the sounds of nature surrounding us. With each inhale, we're filling this body with good, nourishing oxygen, and we allow each exhale to carry away any stray thoughts. With each inhale, we're breathing peace and calm into the body and the mind. And with each exhale, we're letting go of judgment, competition, and even letting go of our own expectations, allowing ourselves to see what these healthy bodies can do when given the opportunity. And we remember to breathe throughout each pose, especially if a pose is challenging for us. Let's keep breathing rather than holding our breath. Taking a few more cleansing and centering breaths. Now when we're ready, let's bring both palms together at heart center. We can open the eyes if you're ready to do so. Let's inhale and reach each long arm out to its longest length. And on the exhale, let's come all the way back to the heart. Inhale, reaching those arms out long. Exhaling back to heart center. And we feel this wonderful opening of the chest just by reaching those arms out. One more time on each side, opening up the front body. Now, from here, let's reach back with both arms for chest expansion, and then round with a tree hug. Inhale, opening up through the chest, exhaling and rounding with a tree hug. So we inhale, opening, exhaling and rounding. So from the side, I'm going to show you, we've got a big movement here, arching the back and then rounding through the spine. Starting to stretch things out, but also to lubricate the spine here in the beginning of our practice. One more time, opening up the chest and then rounding. Coming all the way back to a neutral position, rolling the shoulders back. Now let's inhale the left arm up to shoulder height, watching the tips of our fingers as we gently twist to the side, inhaling back to the center, and exhaling gently down. Let's inhale up on the other side. Gently, gently twist. Inhaling back to the center and exhaling down. So it's a nice way to get a gentle twist here through the trunk, still maintaining the pace of our own healthy breath. One more time, let's inhale that arm to shoulder height. Gently, gently twist, coming back to the center and lower down. And roll those shoulders back. Now let's take a wider stance on the mat here. Toes are pointing on the diagonal, and when we bend the knees and toes are headed in the same direction. If you can't get the knees to go the same way as the toes, try to adjust those toes till you find that good alignment. Let's inhale both arms up to a star shape. And on the exhale, bend through the knees, bring your elbows into the ribs for moonflowers. Inhale, reaching up, exhaling back into moonflowers. So these big muscle systems moving in the arms and the legs are going to start to warm us up in a good, positive way. So if you ever get too hot, you want to exhale out through the mouth so you can let some of that hot air escape the body. One more time using our moonflowers. Let's exhale down, inhaling those arms up. Now let's bend through the knees and hinge forward together with a flat back. Inhale and rise up. Exhaling and hinging. Inhale, rise up. This is our hinging sunflower pose. Now we want to engage our abdominals here. Always trying to keep the back safe. One more time, hinging forward. Now let's use our sun pose. Bend through the knees, reach those arms out long, palms up. Inhaling, arms overhead. palms up toward the sky. Now, one of the things I've learned along the way is about how to correctly, and in a way that we guard the shoulders, move the arms overhead. So whenever we are moving the arms from shoulder height and up, we want to have the palms up toward the ceiling or the sky. And if we're moving the arms from shoulder height downward, those palms should be turning down. So we'll have another opportunity to use that here in a moment. So from here, let's inhale the arms up. Let's bend one knee and lean in to side angle pose. On the inhale, come back to a star. Exhale, over to the other side. Inhale, lifting, lifting. You want to use these trunk muscles. Exhale, over to side angle. Lifting as we inhale. Exhale, over to the side. Inhaling up, exhaling over. Now come all the way back to the center. Let's lower those arms all the way down and roll the shoulders back. Keeping a wide stance, let's go over those fundamentals of overhead arms. So let's keep the palms down. Inhale up to shoulder height. Flip the palms over toward the sky, then continue to rise up. On the exhale, we come down to shoulder height, palms up, turn the hands over, exhale all the way down. Inhale, flip, continue to inhale up, exhale down and flip, exhale all the way. Inhaling and flipping and inhaling still, exhaling and flipping, exhaling still. So it's that tiny little turn of the arms that's going to help protect our shoulders. And if at any time during the class, if it's not comfortable for you to take those arms overhead, then I want you to keep them at shoulder height or below. So if we're going all the way up, you feel free to stop right here and then just bring the arms down. So always thinking about the comfort of our own body, that's always paramount. Now, let's go ahead and step up to the top of the mat here. Feet are going to be hips distance apart. So think about you're standing on the edge of railroad tracks here. Let's inhale, both arms overhead. With a little bend in the knees, swan dive down to a forward fold. On the inhale, let's lift up to monkey with a nice flat back. Exhaling down to forward fold. Rising, rising as we inhale. Always bending the knees as we hinge forward. Inhale, lifting to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Rise tall with a little bend in the knees. That's going to help us protect the back here. Just a couple more times using these monkey flows. Starting to warm the body. Last time through. Now let's swan dive all the way down. Let's step all the way back for downward dog. So the hips are up toward the sky. The heels are reaching down toward the ground. We might start to pedal the feet here, like a slow runner's warm-up. Keeping the head in line with the spine at all times. Engaging the abdominal muscles here, always supporting the back. Now let's reach both heels back and down. And let's gently, gently take the knees down to the ground, stacking the body up into an all fours position. Let's start with a little cat and cow here. So let's inhale, arching the back for cow pose. And on the exhale, round through the spine into your cat. Inhaling and exhaling. Cat and cow flow is a wonderful way to bring some good TLC to that lower back area. We always want to make sure that the shoulders are right above the wrists and the hips are right above the knees for good alignment. Couple more times through. One more time, curling up like a cat. Coming back to that neutral position. Now as we look down at the mat here, let's inhale, reaching forward with one long arm and extending back with the opposite leg. And then exhale back to all fours. Inhale with the other arm reaching forward, back leg behind you. Exhale back to the ground. Now, we always want to keep the abdominals engaged here. That's going to preserve our balance and also protect the back. Inhale as you get long, exhale back to the mat. One more time with our spinal balance flow, coming back to all fours. Now from here, let's reach the hips back toward the heels. Coming into our nice child's pose here, stretching out through the spine. Now from here, let's do a little bit of our upper body practice. On the next inhale, let's shift our whole body forward to a strong kneeling plank. Shoulders are above the wrists and we're engaging the abdominals. And if you're guarding your wrists today, remember you can always use a fist here instead or hold on to a hand weight for more support. Now let's come on back into child's pose. Inhaling forward to that strong kneeling plank, strong abdominals. Exhaling back into child's pose. Now this time we'll add a little change. Let's inhale forward. Keep your elbows close to the body and lower your whole self down. Now on the inhale, lift the chest away from the ground for cobra. We're not using our hands here, so we should be able to wave to our friends, wave to the folks in the garden here. Place the hands back on the ground. Press all the way back into your child's pose. So again, let's inhale forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, lower down through chaturanga. That's crocodile, down to the ground. Inhale, lift your chest away from the ground like a snake in the grass. And then press all the way back. Inhaling forward, kneeling plank. Exhale, lower with control. Inhale, lift with the back only. Wiggle those fingers. Then come all the way back into your child's pose. 2 more times. Inhale forward. Exhale down. Just lifting through the back. Come all the way back to child's pose. Last time through. Come all the way back to child's pose. Let's take a pause here. Now I can keep my hands out long in front of me, just like extended child's pose is meant to be, or I might walk the hands over to one diagonal for downward facing thunderbolt pose. And that gives us this wonderful stretch of the side body. Another nice way to maybe relieve some tension or discomfort in the lower back. Now let's walk those hands back to the center and over to the other side. If we do something on one side of the body, we always want to go back to the other side. Now let's come all the way back to the center. Let's lift the hips and curl the knees down to the ground. Press those heels back and down, coming into downward dog. Paws down low and hips up high. Engaging the abdominals. Let's step all the way up to the top of the mat here. Feet are hips distance apart with a little bend in the knees. Let's rise up tall with a reverse swan dive. Swan diving down to forward fold. Stepping back for downward dog. On the next inhale, let's come forward to a high plank or kneeling plank. Lower down through chaturanga to cobra or upward dog. And then lift the body all the way back to downward dog. Walking up, stepping up, or hopping up to the top of the mat. Rise tall as you inhale. Let's add a chair pose. Exhale like you're sitting into a chair behind you. Inhaling, arms up. Swan diving to forward fold. Stepping back to downward dog. Inhaling forward to the plank of choice. Lower down with control to cobra or upward dog. Lifting the body back. Downward dog. Moving up to our hands. Rising tall as we inhale. Exhale to that strong chair pose. Inhale, arms overhead. Swan diving down. Stepping back for downward dog. Inhaling to the plank of choice. Lower with control. Lifting to upward dog or cobra. Curl the body back. Downward dog. Moving up to the hands. Rising tall as we inhale. Exhaling to chair. Inhaling, arms overhead. Swan diving down. Stepping back for downward dog. Inhaling to the plank of choice. Lower with control. Lift and come all the way back to downward dog. Reaching those feet forward. Rise up as you inhale and exhale to chair. 2 more times through. Feeling good heat warming through the body. Step on back to downward dog. Inhale to your plank. Lower with control. Lift to cobra or upward dog. Come all the way back. Downward dog. Stepping up to the hands. Rise as you inhale. Exhaling to chair. Last time through. Stepping all the way back. Come into that plank. Lower with control. Lift. Come all the way back. Downward dog. Moving up to our hands. Rising. And on the exhale, we sit back into chair. Moving all the way up. And lower those arms all the way back down. Now, if you have a drink, now is a good time to take one. We always want to stay hydrated during the practice. All right. So now, we're going to take some time for some static side bends. So let's inhale our left arm up. Reach as high as you can toward the sky, and on the exhale, we have our side bend. Now, as I'm bending over to the side, we're listening to the body at all times. I'm doing my best to engage these trunk muscles, engage the abdominals. On the next inhale, let's start to lift Lift, 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 lift with those trunk muscles. Exhale that arm down. Let's inhale, the other arm up, reach high. First, you want to elongate the spine, and then we want to come into that side bend. Hearing the sound of our healthy breathing. Might be feeling the heartbeat there after all of those warming sun salutations. We still might have a pretty vigorous heartbeat. That's a good thing. Nothing wrong with getting hot and sweaty during your practice. Inhale, lift up. Exhale that arm down. Let's reach the shoulders by rolling them back and down. Now we're going to go into a snow angel twist here to continue to twist through the trunk. Twisting poses can be very beneficial to all areas of the lower back and the upper back as well. So let's inhale, both arms overhead, keeping the abdominals strong. On the exhale, let's twist through the trunk as we bring those arms down. Inhale, rise up, turning back to the center. Exhale, twisting to the other side. Inhaling and rising. Exhale, twisting to the other side. Now, if you are working through some lower back discomfort, these twisting poses and the cat and cow and the downward facing thunderbolt, all of those things are meant to feel good for those areas that need a little extra TLC. But of course, if anything that we're doing is not feeling good in the body, please give yourself permission to ease back. There's no reason that we should be hurting in our practice, ever. One more snow angel twist. Coming all the way back to the center, lowering those arms all the way back down and rolling the shoulders back. All right, so let's move on up to the top of our mats here. Both feet are going to be hips distance apart. Let's inhale, both arms overhead. Swan diving with that little bend in the knees to a forward fold. Let's inhale, lifting up to monkey. On the exhale, down to forward fold. Little bend in the knees as we rise up tall. Swan diving down. Inhaling up to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Rise tall. This time, let's add that chair pose, sitting back into chair. Inhaling the arms up. Swan diving down. Inhaling to monkey with a flat back, strong abdominals. Exhale down to forward fold. Little bend in the knees. Sitting on back into that chair. One more time through. Last time, sitting back in chair. Now let's come all the way back up. Bring those arms all the way back down. Now from the top of our mat, let's find our feet hips distance apart. Remember, think about standing on the outer edge of railroad tracks. Let's start with our right foot, stepping as far back as we can, and turning our hips to face forward. So both of my feet are flat on the ground. My left toes are facing forward. My right toes are on just a slight angle out to the side, as if they're pointing toward the 1 o'clock on a clock here on my mat. Turn the hips to face forward. Hips, belly button, shoulders, and head. Everything is facing straight ahead, and I've got a good bend in my knee right above that ankle, or slightly behind if you're guarding it. This is Warrior 1. Now from here, we're going to keep that left foot planted. Gently, let's pick up our right foot and step back as if now we're standing on a balance beam or one long surfboard. My left toes are still facing forward. Right foot is parallel to the back of the mat. And I'm looking out over my left middle finger for warrior two. We engage the abdominals. Maybe we'll add a little flow here if you want some movement. Inhaling, arms overhead with a gentle straightening of the front knee. Exhale, back to the bend. One more breath here. Now let's come back to warrior two. Turn that left palm up toward the ceiling. Reach forward to serve your friends. Then tilt the upper body back. This is our reverse warrior. It opens up the front side of the body, gives us a nice back bend too. Looking up to my high left hand is going to be the balance challenge, but if I don't want that, I could either look straight ahead or just past that left arm. Now let's come all the way back to warrior two. Bending that left arm, let's lean on in to side angle. Just resting that left arm on our left leg. Engage the abdominals. Roll the right shoulder back to open the chest. 3 more breaths here. Now on the next inhale, let's rise up. Relax the arms, step all the way up to the top of the mat. Let's use that monkey flow. Inhale, arms overhead. Swan diving down to our forward fold. Lifting to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Rise up with an inhale and a little bend in the knees. Swan diving down. Inhaling to monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Rising tall. One more time, swan diving down. Inhaling to monkey. Exhaling, forward fold. Rising tall. And let's bring both of those arms all the way down. Now find your feet again, hips distance apart. Let's take our left foot back as far as we can step with that whole left foot connecting to the ground. Turn the hips to face forward, looking straight ahead into the distance with a soft gaze through the eyes, relaxing the forehead, eyes, cheeks, and mouth. And listen to the sound of the healthy breath and the sounds of nature surrounding us. One more breath here. Now remember, let's keep the right foot where it is. Pick up the left foot and step back gently, coming into that balance beam stance. We still have that good bend in the front knee. Looking out over that right middle finger, reaching the arms out long. Remember, you can stay still here or we can flow the pose again. Inhaling up. Then exhale back to warrior two. So remember, you can always take breaks whenever you need to. Nothing is required. One more time here, one more breath. In flowing warrior two, come back to that traditional stance. Let's bend the right arm and lean in for side angle. Think about rotating your left shoulder back to keep the chest open. Now let's rise up, relax the arms and step all the way up to the back or to the top of your mat, shaking those legs out. So we're going to use our standing camel pose here. So what we want to do is reach back behind ourselves, find that bony spot at the bottom of your tailbone. It's called the sacrum. We'll put the hands in a fist on either side. Let's inhale, lifting up through the shoulders. And on the exhale, we roll them back and down. And I'm looking up on the diagonal, keeping my head in line with the spine rather than bending it very far back. Engaging my abdominal muscles here. You always want to engage the abdominals, especially when you're in a back bend, because that helps us to protect the back. Now, 2 more breaths, standing camel. Now gently, gently, we rise up. We roll those shoulders forward several times. And when you're ready, roll the shoulders back and down. Now this next yoga pose is going to be primarily for standing balance, but it also has a hip opening piece. We can stand still or we can add movement. It's all up to you. So use the options given as you'd like. So I'm going to shift all of my balance over to my right foot, and I'm going to lift my left knee up. It's bent now, and I'm going to lift it up as high as is comfortable. You might have it right at, we'll say, lap height, or you might have that foot lower, or maybe even down to the floor. It's always up to you. Then I'm going to extend my same side arm out to the side. So without any movements, just try to engage those abdominals. If you're struggling with your stability, no, don't worry. Hold on to a chair, hold on to the wall. Now, if you want to add movement, on the inhale, let's take the hip out to the side as that long arm comes to the center. Exhaling back. Let's inhale, opening the hip, the arm comes to the center. Exhaling back. Remember, keep those abdominals strong to maintain balance. Strong abdominals are such a wonderful partner for a strong back. So if you're struggling with some lower back discomfort or any area of the back, think about strengthening those abdominal muscles. That can help us. One more time out to the side, and then bring that leg back in. Relax the arm. Shake out those legs. You'll notice that that supporting leg feels like it's been working pretty hard too. So now let's shift over to the other side, balancing on my left leg, lifting up that right knee to any height that feels good, extending out that right arm to the side. Inhale as you open the hip and close the arm. Exhale, closing the hip, open the arm. So again, we're engaging our abdominal muscles here to help us with our balance. One more time, flowing out to the side. Now come all the way back, relax the arm and the leg, shaking everything out. Now let's bring both hands together at heart center. Just rest the blades of the thumbs right there at the breastbone where it's comfortable. Inhale, engaging the abdominals, standing up tall. Remember, elongation before rotation in this piece. So we're going to stretch up long, and then on the exhale, start below your navel, Start to gently, gently twist to one side. And we try to keep the hips as forward as is comfortable while we're twisting the trunk. Of course, listening to the body at all times. Standing spinal twist. Now gently, gently come on back to the center. Let's prepare for the other side. Inhale, first engage the abdominals. Rise up to your own tallest height. Then on the exhale, start low below the navel. Gently, gently twisting. There's no rush. Take your time. Twisting poses are super helpful for the spine, stretching out all those muscles, maybe relieving some of those areas that might be tender or sore. So listen to the body. Again, what we're doing should feel good. Nothing should feel uncomfortable. So listen to the body. Now let's come all the way back. When you're ready, all the way back to the center. Relax those arms. We're going to move up to the top of our mat here, and we're going to take another swan dive series down. So let's inhale the arms up, a little bend in the knee as we swan dive down to a forward fold. Now here, let's go ahead and just try to straighten the legs as much as is comfortable for you. They do not have to be perfectly straight. So let's just straighten them as much as is comfortable for us. We get that nice stretch behind the legs. We get some good lengthening for the spine. Let the head hang loose and relax. Now when you're ready, let's step all the way back into downward dog, reaching those heels down toward the ground. Hips are up high. Let's engage the abdominals. And on the next inhale, shift forward to a plank pose, whether you're kneeling or lifted, and then lower your whole self down to the ground. Now from here, we're going to prepare for Sphinx pose. Now earlier in the class, we worked on Cobra, which had us using no hands. We were able to wave. Sphinx is going to have us using our hands. So I want you to rest your forearms down on the floor here. Palms are facing down as well. My feet are about hips distance apart, toes resting on the ground. So first, let's activate the feet by pointing through the toes. Engage the legs. Engage the abdominals. So think about pressing your abdominals toward the ground. And then I'm going to press down through the forearms, lengthening through the spine. This is our Sphinx pose. And I like to kind of walk my shoulders in, right underneath, walk my elbows in, right underneath the shoulders. Sometimes I get a little cramp in my toes, so don't feel like you have to stay there in an uncomfortable place. Stretch them out if you need to. Sphinx gives us a nice extension for the spine, which is a wonderful way to reduce some of that lower back challenge that we may be working through. Keeping those abdominals strong, let's take 3 more breaths. Now gently lower, lower, lower yourself down to the ground. Place both palms face down to the mat, right outside of the chest. Lift up here, and let's come on back to child's pose. You can have those toes laying flat to the ground if it's comfortable, or sometimes I curl the toes if my feet are cramping a little bit. So this is a nice counter stretch for our Sphinx pose. Breathing deeply. Now let's walk our hands back toward our bent knees. Let's go ahead and just bring our feet around in front of us here. Let's use our butterfly pose here. So let's bring the soles of our feet together. You can slide those heels in as close to the groin as is comfortable for your hips and knees. And let's just sit up nice and tall here, engaging our abdominals. This is our butterfly pose. And opening up through the hips here is also another way to release any tension or any kind of tenderness that we may be feeling in the lower back. Now, if you want to get a little deeper into this lower back stretch, we can add a hinge forward in butterfly. So if you care to join me, we'll inhale tall, engaging our abdominals. On the exhale, let's hinge forward from the hips with a nice flat back. Now you're probably going to feel things get more intense through these inner thigh areas. Things are going to get a little more intense for the hip opening. But you're welcome to go as far down into that hinge as is comfortable for you. Hearing the sound of our healthy breath, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Now let's lift all the way back upright. Now, as I mentioned earlier, one of the keys to success for having a good healthy back is to have good strong abdominals. So we're going to have a little fun with some abdominal work here, and we're going to start right off here in butterfly. So what I'd like you to do is take your two peace fingers, the first and second finger, and if you're able to reach, I want you to reach down and bind or hold on to your big toes. If you can't reach the big toes, don't worry, you can hang on anywhere on the lower leg if you want to. Now, what we're going to do is hold on to those toes, walk your heels back. We're going to lift up one foot and then the second foot, finding balance on those bony rods that are the sitting bones. And I'm engaging my abdominals here to keep balancing there. Now here comes the fun part. If you want, you can extend these legs out a little wider, still engaging the abdominals. This is called big toe wide boat. And we're trying to engage the abdominals and find our balance, having a little fun here. I always joke when I'm talking about trying out these boat pose or big toe wide boat, and I always say to my students, so be smart about it. Do it on, a carpeted floor, or do it, on the grass. Don't do it on a cement patio, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. So always be smart about it. If you're losing your balance, you're going to tuck and roll rather than just fling yourself back. Now when you're ready, come on back with those heels and toes and go ahead and have a seat. Now we're actually going to work ourselves all the way down to the ground here. So I'm going to scooch all the way up toward the top of the mat. I'm holding on behind the legs, gently rolling down one vertebrae at a time. I'm going to bring both knees in toward my chest. Another nice way to release any tension in the lower back. Now what we can do here is change this up with a single knee to chest. So I'm going to choose either leg and just straighten it out as much as is comfortable and just hug one knee in. Let's take a few breaths here. Now let's switch when you're ready Just switch and extend through the other leg. Bring that other knee up toward your chest. Now when you're ready, switch again. One long leg and one bent knee hugged in close. Other side. Now this time I'm going to bring both knees in toward the chest. You might just rock the knees side to side if that's comfortable. If it's comfortable, you might circle the knees around in one direction and then reverse it. Remember, these are all things that are meant to feel like a massage for the back. So you use them as you'd like. Nothing is required. And come all the way back to the center when you're ready. Now let's just keep one leg bent with our foot just gently resting on the ground. My other knee that's close to my chest, I'm going to take those peace fingers again and hook onto my big toe and extend that leg up long toward the sky. Now some days I feel like I can nearly straighten out that leg and everything feels nice and relaxed. Today I'm noticing that things are feeling a little tighter through those muscles. I don't pass judgment on it. I just say, those muscles are feeling a little tight today. I'm just going to ease into these stretches to make things comfortable. And if you'd like, you might take this long leg out toward the side on a slight diagonal. Now, if you can't reach your big toes, don't worry. You can always hang on anywhere on the leg. If I had my yoga strap out here with me, I could put my yoga strap around the foot and hang on to each end. That would be helpful. Now take that leg to the center, release your big toe bind, switch to the other side. Let's try to straighten this leg as much as is comfortable. Now, if you want to take that leg out to the side, you're welcome to do so. Now come all the way back to the center. Let's release the toe bind. Let's find both feet here flat on the ground. We're going to use our bridge pose here. So I'm going to place both palms flat on the ground. I'm going to make sure that when we lift up the hips, we're going to think about peeling up one vertebrae at a time away from the mat. So when you're ready, let's inhale, lifting those hips toward the sky, keeping the abdominals nice and strong, pressing down through the feet, relaxing through the neck and breathing. Almost done. Now gently reconnect one vertebrae at a time all the way back to the ground. Now let's walk the feet together and let's open up into a reclined butterfly pose. Another nice way to open up here through the hips. And you know, those hip muscles are often connected to those lower back muscles. So if we're stretching out through the hips, that can also help stretch out those lower back muscles. So just think about how much of it is all connected. Now let's bring those butterfly wings back upright when you're ready. Let's just gently take our arms out to the side like scarecrow arms. Let's engage the abdominals and slowly, slowly lower both knees over to one side for a gentle spinal twist. Think about using these twisting poses to let go and wring out anything that is of no use to you anymore. Now let's engage the abdominals. Lift, 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 lift. Take those knees gently, gently over to the other side. Breathing nourishing oxygen into the body and the mind, and using each exhale to let go of anything that is of no use to us anymore. Now when you're ready, gently, gently bring those knees upright. Now, the traditional form that we can take for our Shavasana pose is corpse pose. So we could have both arms resting on the ground just outside of the hips, palms up. And we could stretch our legs out long and open the feet gently, letting those feet just fall apart. I'm going to come to an upright seated position for this last part, but you are certainly welcome to lie down. You're welcome to sit upright with me if you'd like. Let's just take this last few moments of our practice. Take the time to acknowledge the physical work that we've done. Take the time to purposely find some rest after that physical work. So we're going to just quiet the mind as best we can. If stray thoughts come in, we're going to acknowledge them briefly and then let them float on by like a cloud in the sky. So if you feel comfortable closing your eyes, you're welcome to do so. And let's just breathe easy, relaxed breaths. Hearing the sounds of nature that surround us, remembering our connection to all things in nature. We might hear the sounds of neighbors around us, and we remember our connection to them as well. And as we sit here or lie here on the ground, we think about drawing good energy up from the earth into these strong, healthy bodies. We focus on the sound of our easy, relaxed breath, finding our heart shining with gratitude at this time for rest, Grateful for the way that we have moved these bodies during our practice today. Grateful for these natural ways that we can help address any of those concerns we're having in the lower back. And we're grateful that this is just the beginning. We will have more practices designed to help us bring a little extra TLC to those lower back areas. So when we're ready, whether we're seated or standing, let's invite a little bit of movements into our fingers and our toes, gently waking them, starting to breathe a little more deeply. And for those folks who are lying down, when you're ready, you might choose to bend the knees, hugging them in closer to you, maybe rocking them gently, side to side, massaging the back one more time in a gesture of self-care. And when you're ready, if you're lying down, gently roll your whole body over to one side on the floor as each of us here breathes in the peace, the balance, and the focus that we've shared here today, intending to take it with us everywhere we go. And exhaling all of the warmth, kindness, encouragement, and love that we have for each other, for the world surrounding us, and for ourselves. And for those lying down, when you're ready, let's rise up to an easy seated posture. I invite all of us to bring the hands together at heart center. Let's start to rub the hands vigorously to warm them. And let's use our warm hands to gently cover our closed eyes. Oh, that amazing heat that we find there is encouraging our eyes to slowly open, and we bring the hands to rest upon our laps. Clear minds, kind words, compassionate hearts. Namaste.